I don't know how many times I got asked if I speak English. And so today's episode, we are just going to talk about that, like about language, how speaking a foreign language is impacting our mental health, and what it actually means in terms of like integration and appreciation of the place where we live, or the necessity to move elsewhere. For those new to this space, welcome. We Are Here Too is a podcast about mental health when living abroad. And my name is Francesca. I'm the host of the podcast and I'm an Italian counsellor living in the UK, specifically in Scotland. And when I moved to Scotland 11 years ago, I still remember this situation that happened to me that now looking back, I'm just like, yeah, of course, like that totally makes sense. But at the time, it really felt like, like a digging in an open wound, and then feeling completely like destroyed by it. I suppose at the time I was very fragile when I moved to Scotland, and there was a lot happening for me that only now I can make sense of it all. But what happened in that moment is like I was looking for a flat and I finally found the place and contacted the owner. And me and the landlady, we eventually like went through the contract, we met, we had a chat. And then she asked me, "So why are you here, Francesca? Are you going to study English here? Is that the reason of your visit?" And let me tell you, I was like, what? Why? My English is perfect. Why is this person thinking that my English is not okay? Am I not making myself clear enough? Is my English not good enough for the UK? Is there something wrong with the way I'm pronouncing words? And I got incredibly so self-critical. And I suppose in a way that was like bringing up a lot of stuff for me. That was not coming from that small interaction. It was coming from something else, from a past. But in that moment where everything that I wanted was actually to communicate, to feel understood and to engage and integrate, like even in that moment, which was so early on in my experience of living in Scotland, like really shook me. I would say that there is usually a lot of anxiety and stress coming with speaking a foreign language. And it's true that, anxiety and stress can impact on the speech. They can have a negative influence on our self-esteem and confidence and ability to communicate. And so it's also normal that when we feel so much under stress, like our speech and our ability to speak a foreign language just really goes to bits, and good luck really. And still nowadays, when I'm feeling a bit under stressed, I notice immediately how my ability to say anything, even the simplest of sentences, just disappears. It evaporates and I don't even know how. But nowadays, I'm just like thinking about it when that happens to me. I'm just like, yeah, of course, I'm stressed. Like, chill, Francesca. Like, it's gonna get better, But, for a very long period of time, I didn't even know that was exactly what was happening to me. And so my speech was getting worse and worse. I was not clear. Like, my head was feeling a bit fuzzled. And of course, when I'm in that space, how am I even kidding? How can I even communicate? And there was a phase when I actually really hated speaking English. I just couldn't master it. I was reaching a point where I was like, I just want to express more, but people do not either understand me because of my accent, because of the way I pronounce words, or simply because the sentence itself makes absolutely no sense. And I was getting exhausted by it all. Like, I still remember, like, the moment when I was like, Oh, wow. Like speaking a foreign language and try to assimilate other words and try to learn in the process, especially when you first move to a new country, it's so incredibly exhausting because we are trying to learn, right? Like when we first speak a foreign language, we are just like sponges and we are absorbing, whether we like it or not, we're just absorbing like new idiomatic phrases like sentences, vocabulary, expressions, sayings, and it's all so cluttery, right? And I suppose what happens is like we also miss the nuances of it, and as if that's not enough, like the exhaustions that come with it, we enter this spiral of like anxiety and stress now because we are struggling to communicate. I suppose that, looking back at my life experiences and when I moved to a different country and tried to learn a new language, how difficult that experience was for me and how much struggles and efforts and sleepless nights I spent making sure that I would learn the language to a point where I felt like, yes, like I have the competencies to express myself the best I could. That's one of the reasons why sometimes when I have to think about where I'm going to move next, I feel like my possibilities are limited by the languages that I know. And I don't think I know any other language to the proficiency level that English is for me. And so I'm thinking, oh, am I willing to actually move things upside down and bring myself to a place of miscomprehension, misunderstandings, not being able to communicate fully what I want to say, which sometimes felt also like, fueled as well a sense of like overall isolation and loneliness because it was difficult for me to connect to other realities really, or even to feel integrated because realistically, once you know the language, you understand the culture as well. And for a very long time, I never felt like I was understanding like Scottish culture because there were so many words and ways of being that were so connected to one another that I felt really lost. And so over and over again, I'm thinking, why would I put myself in that place again? Right? Like, I suppose that's a very legitimate question. And I'm curious to know if you experience that yourself, right? Like, let me know, please, because, I suppose the point of this podcast is to make sure that, we don't feel alone in our experiences. Truth is that now I would approach this very differently. I wouldn't necessarily just chance it and move to a new country and see where it lands with the language. I would prepare myself, and I suppose that over the years it's about like finding a balance between like spontaneity and organization and see where that leads. I always feel like that when I share things on my podcast, I never necessarily give like a one answer to any of the issues that I'm bringing here. And I suppose for me, it's very cyclical. Like all my experiences about these different elements of our life abroad, like I said before, I don't know, culture shock or the sense of guilt or issues around like organizing holidays. All of this, they come cyclically. And every time I have to find like inner resources to deal with them. And sometimes I'm feeling better, sometimes I'm feeling less okay. And I suppose that's part of what it means to live abroad. It's about like learning what it's working and what it's not working for us. So hopefully we can put things in place when we decide to move on. Whether on means staying in the country and, finding ways to settle a bit further, a bit more fully, or moving back to our country of origin, or simply moving elsewhere. There was a time where actually I didn't want to have anything to do with Italian language. And the reasons could be many, or could be simply one. But I suppose my relationship with it changed. And so there is a part of me now who doesn't really care if for people I sound Italian, Whilst in the past, I would be so upset because I felt like, how is it even possible? Like, my English is getting better. Why could you still hear my Italianness coming through it? And now I'm just like, yes, I welcome that. I'm so happy you're actually hearing that, because that's where my heritage is, and I'm carrying it with pride. And before, I didn't feel like I could do that, or I would necessarily want to do that. And there is one thing which is like pronunciation, and of course I had to improve that, because I was, I don't know, recording things for different projects and such, and listening back, I was like, I'm not even sure what I'm saying there. Like, it was not, my pronunciation was so not clear to me either. But the accent, it is what actually makes us us. And in some ways, I got to term with it. And I wonder if you're struggling to carry your Italianness through that. Like, I would invite you to wonder, what is it that is getting in the way for you to feel connected to your own culture? Does it feel like it's not possible for you to separate what is good and what is not good? Does it feel like you cannot carry it fully? Does it feel too heavy? Did you feel discriminated by it? You know, because sometimes there is also that element that comes into play, and for us it's best to assimilate and blend in rather than stand out, because it's clearly safer. Okay, but what are the reasons that are not allowing you to feel in touch with your nationality through your language? And I suppose you can find a lot of answers in there, and I hope you can welcome them and don't resist them. And I think you can find your way through. And so I suppose with this, we are at the end of another episode. Like, time really flies. I hope you are enjoying this. And there are 3 episodes left to season 1. And I suppose I'm still going to share some of the news and ideas that I have for future season, because yes, it's happening. Season 2 is happening. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening, and email me if you have feedback. I would very much welcome them. Bye.